Hello everyone and welcome to Best of the Rest series. Today we're going to be looking at some of the top NA bubble players. Maybe a bit of an oxymoron, right? We're looking at some of the top bubble players and a couple of their ranked replays. So right here we are on Diaz's point of view. As a reminder, he played for the Complexity roster last year. He was an import from Sam into NA, and now he is on Space Station Gaming. He's going to be teaming up with Chronic and Reveal, so kind of excited to see how that team does. Kind of, I think most people already have them as kind of NA3 or NA4 probably, just because Chronic and Reveal had really good seasons last year. I think Diaz is a little bit on a prove-it year for a lot of people, but he's been extremely highly rated in the MMR leaderboards of... Wow, we cannot stop. They cannot stop scoring. I'm trying to talk about this thing, guys. Come on. But he's highly ranked in the 2v2 leaderboards. He's also world-renowned 1v1 player. Represented for NA during the 1v1 event at the Raleigh Major last year, and extremely talented player in that regard. Who else do we have in this lobby? Okay, so we got Azapatos, kind of also known as a bubble player who's looking to break in. I looked at his Twitter account and he is looking for a team right now. I don't think he's solidified his roster yet, but obviously very talented. He's got some 1v1 and 2v2 winnings, and now he's looking to branch a little bit more into the 3v3 and do that grind. We've also got Cheese right there, who was on Gen G and then got, I don't know if he was technically dropped or if they just decided not to continue his contract, but he's basically replaced by Rise as Diaz searches for that bump. So he's kind of on a prove-it year, but he's at least with the org. He's with Foot Esports, with Frosty, and oh my goodness, why am I spacing? He's there with Frosty and Sosa, and Sosa of course coming from APAC there. Going to be exciting to watch that team. To me, that team kind of feels like three different players that were kind of abandoned by their team but all played pretty well last season, and so it'll be interesting to see how that team of three does as they band together, since it's a brand new group of three. Not we're looking for any signs of chemistry. Did I talk about Evoh at all? I don't think so. He was on the boys last year with Aqua, and then I believe Hawksair was their third for a good chunk of the season. They have moved and are, let's see, what is it? It's going to be Aqua, Evoh, and 5UP. 5UP, another talented bubble player in NA. So really I tried to pick these replays that had several bubble players. Obviously it's all highly rated, highly ranked, peak SSL NA gameplay. All these guys are over 2,000 MMR. I'd be willing to bet, or at least right on that level. So they're highly ranked, and I thought it would just be fun to watch how they're playing together and maybe see if there's any chemistry. We'll look at one other replay after this one with some other players that are kind of in a similar boat. But I would love to hear your thoughts on who you expect to have a breakout season. You know, who's going to secure that NA number 4 slot? Do you think any of the guys we're watching today will take that spot? I think it's very likely that the Cheese, Frosty, Sosa is a very solid roster. I think that's one we can kind of expect to be pretty well in contention. Nice shot by Diaz. Pretty well in contention for the number 4 spot in NA. Kind of depends to me how well Gen G does. I think we all expect NRG and the Shopify Rebellion roster to be in the top 3 slots, or sorry, the top 2 slots, and then the 3rd slot would be up to Gen G to see kind of how does bringing Rise onto their team take that team to another level, or, you know, are they still kind of in that 3 or 4 range of NA? And then from there, you've got a lot of different options for 4th in NA as they secure it. 4-2 with a minute left, but they're going to keep playing. Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued. I'm really excited about this open. We have the option that maybe some of these players are going to be playing at the kickoff LAN. You know, if they do well and place top 4 in the first open. You know, there's a lot riding on this first open event, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to be showing us a lot of what's going on in this game. I've been watching the CRL stuff. I've been watching the Coup de France. Okay, that's a forfeit with 32 seconds left. And then there's the E Brasileiro, so I've been trying to catch all the different clips, but we're finally going to be getting some real RLCS competition soon here. Let's jump to the second replay. Okay, we're on board with Comm here, and we've got Frosty, Parth, and Pigeon on in the lobby today. A couple interesting... I got demo right off the start. A couple interesting player narratives here. Of course, Frosty, we kind of talked about a little bit, where he's with Cheese and Sosa, so this is kind of a team that's expected to do well on that food. Frosty kind of moved around a little bit. He was on SSG, then he went on to Complexity, and now he is on Food with those guys. Comm basically took the year off, kind of did like a soft retirement or some sort of hiatus or something. I don't know any of the details, personal details as to what, you know, why he took the break, but he has been around for a little while. He's probably a little bit on the older player status now at this point. I say that as he's probably like 20 or 21 years old or something. But he's been in the RLCS scene at a higher level. He's teamed with, you know, Daniel and Beast Mode back on version 1, I believe was the roster there. And kind of iconic player, also known as a kind of a chirpy player. He likes to talk smack a little bit, and he's not afraid to get physical in the game, do a lot of demos. So it'd be interesting to see how that style translates. He's playing with Creams and Parth. So actually Parth, who's on the other side with the name P here. Parth and Comm and Creams are all teaming for RLCS, at least for the start, Open 1. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Parth, like I just mentioned, he was on Shopify Rebellion last year. They decided to drop the roster and pick up First Killer, LJ, and Kofer. Wow, nice shot there. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know, that Shopify Rebellion roster stuck for a while, and they were kind of evidence of a roster sticking not quite being the right move, right? Where you had NRG sticking obviously worked out well for them. Now I know, you know, those three players aren't quite all on the same level when it comes to overall talent, and maybe, you know, there's a lot of other factors there, but, you know, you kind of have two teams that stuck for a while, and one did well and one did poorly. So you got to look at what are the differences between those two. So it'll be interesting to see. Is anyone here a Parth believer? Is anyone here expect Parth to do well as Frosty nails the goal there and ties it up 1-1 with half the game left? I think that pretty much covers it. Pigeon, I believe, is also RLCS bubble player. I don't know who he teams with. I believe he was teaming with Resinol last year a little bit. I could be totally wrong about that, though. If you know any of the Pigeon lore, please let us know. I don't really know anything about him. Oh, I can't believe they snuck that one in. So, yeah, if you know any of the lore there, let us know. But of all these players we've talked about, you know, who do you expect to have a breakout season, do you think? You know, I'm kind of thinking that Diaz could potentially have a good year. You know, it takes a little while to adjust to the 3v3 game, but it looks like he's really putting in the effort, and clearly the 1v1 and the 2v2 skills are there for him. So I think we can continue to expect great things from Diaz, and I'm ready to claim him as an NA player, even though he's a SAM import. You guys let me know if you think otherwise. I don't know what his if he's got some sort of green card status to be on an org in the US, so therefore he counts as an NA person and doesn't count as an import. You know, there are rules to that, but yeah, I have no insight into that, just pure speculation, which I guess is kind of the point of these videos, right? Wow. Not in. kind of put his teammate in a bad spot there by pushing into the corner. But yeah, I'm also really excited about the boys roster. I'm a huge Aqua fan. I had so much fun watching those guys play in the last chance qualifiers. So I'm kind of hoping that Evoh, Aqua, and 5UP are able to figure something out and maybe can find themselves into it. Maybe if, you know, if NRG wins the LAN Open and gets 5 spots for NA, we're very likely going to see some of these players in that 5th slot. Because there's already a bit of a shuffle for who's top 4. Really, who's 4th? Oh, and that's going to be a forfeit from them as they go down 3. Wow, okay, those games were faster than I thought. I was going to keep yapping for a while. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you think of these players and who are you watching on the bubble this year. And we've got more RLCS content coming up soon. I'm even going to be on a couple other channels in this Rocket League space, hopefully shortly. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you see me in the feed on someone else's channel, please go ahead and watch that video, give it a like, and subscribe to those people, because all of us RLCS creators are working together to create as much good content as possible for this upcoming season, and all the support and the comments are very, very appreciated. Thank you guys so much for all that support, and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.